Well, continuing to follow the story of Noah as we read Genesis 8:20 to 9:29. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. So the waters have subsided. Noah and his family have been invited out of the ark into this new empty landscape that needs to be refilled, and his first response is to build an altar to the Lord and makes a sacrifice, recognizing the need, but also wanting to express gratitude to the Lord. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done." Now, this is interesting, isn't it? The aroma from the sacrifice pleases the Lord, and his intention is not to repeat a flood, to respond in the same way, but not because humanity has now changed. It's not that Noah was a good man and he's going to have good children and so everything's going to be fine from now on. God knows that the inclination of every human heart is evil from childhood. That's the state in which we are born into this world. But God is going to hold back that justice that is deserved. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Now, this verse is really important. So it's not that God is saying justice is never going to happen, that there is going to be no further judgment. What he's saying is he's not going to interrupt this world's running. So there's not going to be a worldwide flood and then start again. That's happened once. There is going to be a climactic end of time judgment when things in this world cease, but as long as this earth endures, the seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. We live in a cursed world. There are problems. It's a broken world, and so there are fluxes in the climate. There are times of drought, times of too much rain. All of these things happen. We clearly see that it would seem that we affect those as well by our broken behaviour. But actually, those general seasons will continue. There will be cold and heat, summer, winter, day and night. God is going to allow life on this world to continue uninterrupted from his large-scale judgment, temporal judgment, until that end time judgment. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth." It's almost a fresh start again, like Adam and Eve, except this time Noah's got 3 sons, and they're going to have to fill the earth, 3 sons and their wives. The fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth and all the birds in the sky, on every creature that moves along the ground, and all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. There's just an edge to the language here which is different to Adam and Eve. They were to rule, they were to have dominion, but this idea of fear and dread, again, this is reminding us that this is a broken world, and there is a nervousness of the creation almost in response to humanity and the way that we treat it. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything, but you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. So now meat is on the menu for the first time, it would seem. They've been vegetarians before now, but now meat is to be allowed, but not with the lifeblood still in it. And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal, and from each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed, for in the image of God has God made mankind. So there's an edge now. Creation is in fear of man's rule. Man is now allowed to eat meat. Clearly that requires the killing of animals. But when it comes to the killing of humans, there is something significant about humans as being made in the image of God. That's the only reason given here. And so if someone sheds human blood, their blood must be shed by fellow humans. There is a death penalty for murder, is the picture here, the command. And not because it's a just deterrent or anything like that, but because humans are made in the image of God. We are not to take the life of another human being. And this is enshrined here for Noah, and can be argued that has not been removed in terms of God's covenant with humanity. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth and increase it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I established my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant I'm making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I've set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all of life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth. And repeat it again and again. There is a covenant now between God and all life on the earth. God is not going to cause a worldwide flood again. There's not going to be, while this earth continues, a temporal judgment on that scale. And so God is making a covenant, the sign of the rainbow, that will be a reminder that after each bout of rain, and there is some flooding with rain, comes the sunshine and it dries again. And we can be grateful for that. And here is a covenant with all living creatures on the earth, that God is going to not do that again. And for Noah, that must have been such a reassurance coming out of the ark with the flood, seeing God's righteous judgment on a wicked world, hearing God say that mankind's heart is still inclined to wickedness, and maybe that fear of, does that mean we're all going to get wiped out? And yet God is saying, not at the moment, no. There is this covenant in place, and as Noah enters this new world, not an Eden at all, but a world that's still under the curse, a world that's still messed up. It must have been a frightening beginning, heading out of the ark, out of the safety of the ark, into this whole new realm. And yet God gives him this reassurance. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These were the three sons of Noah, and from them came the people who were scattered over the whole earth. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. So here we are, the man of faith, the man who has found God's favour, the man who's been living a righteous life as he's walked in God's ways, after the flood gets drunk, sinful, wrong, and lays uncovered inside his tent. Picture again when you think about Adam and Eve and then being covered, he's uncovered, his sin is before everybody. Yes, he's in his tent, but he's exposed in that sense. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. So that exposure of Noah and his sinful behaviour and the drunkenness, Ham sees it and now goes and spreads it, exposes his father to others. But Shem and Japheth took their garments and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked backwards and covered their father's naked body. Their faces were turned the other way so that they would not see their father naked. When Noah awoke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves he will be to his brothers." He also said, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. Noah lived a total of 950 years, and then he died. So here's this brave new world, this wonderful fresh start. All the wickedness is washed away. Noah, this righteous man, found favour in God's sight, has been obedient to God's command. He and his family, the only people left. Fresh start. Surely it's going to be fine. Noah gets drunk. His son exposes his nakedness to his brothers. And there is now conflict between the brothers for future generations as Noah lays this curse. God said, I'm not going to flood the world again. I'm not going to judge the world again in a temporal judgment, despite the fact that the inclinations of the human heart are wicked all the time. And folks, this is a painful diagnosis of our situation today, and it's why the idea of a fresh start is not enough on its own. It would be great, we might think, to wipe the slate clean, to change the circumstances and to have a fresh start, but we take ourselves with us. Our hearts are inclined to selfishness, to do our own thing, and a fresh start might, in a sense, feel better, and we might be able to learn from some of the mistakes we've made and not make them again, but our hearts are not right, and it will all begin again. And so it takes us back to the sacrifice of the clean animals and the need for someone to die in our place and there to be forgiveness, so that God is pleased rather than angry with our wickedness. All of this is pointing us to the Lord Jesus Christ, who dies, whose blood was shed in the place of those who shed blood in their hatred and antagonism towards others. And so it's a sobering chapter and a reminder for us today, and it's worth just reflecting on our own hearts and the way we are, and our need for Jesus